It is Saturday. Welcome back to the Build Log. I am Maki. This is episode 23, and the knits are on. 3 rounds today, all of them about money, because this week the AI industry filed its receipts, and they are genuinely absurd.
I am Kai, and I want it noted that Maki laminated the scorecard. Not printed, laminated. She expects this document to survive a flood, a fire, and my objections. In that order.
And my objections. Structure protects us both, Kai. Round 1 is guess the run rate. Round 2 is whose money is it anyway? Round 3 is receipts or vibes. Every figure comes from reporting available this week, and I will say when something is projected rather than banked.
Laminated and sourced. Somewhere a real game show host is watching this and quietly resigning. Let us begin before she alphabetizes the buzzer.
Quietly resigning. Round 1, question 1. Anthropic ended 2025 at roughly $9 billion in annualized revenue. By May of this year, reporting puts the run rate at what? 22 billion, 47 billion, or 61 billion?
47. And I want everyone to sit with that. 9 to 47 in about 17 months. My rent went up 11%, and I had to have a conversation about it.
A conversation about it? Correct. 47 billion. And the same reporting says Anthropic filed confidentially for an initial public offering at a valuation near $965 billion.
965 billion. They could not find the last 35 billion to make it a clean trillion? That is not a valuation. That is a company standing at the self-checkout, patting its pockets.
Patting its pockets. Question 2. Anthropic is projecting its first ever operating profit this quarter. How much? 200 million, 559 million, or 1.4 billion?
$559 million. And it is the word first that gets me. Their first profit ever is more than most companies earn in a lifetime. They skipped the ramen years entirely.
It's over 9,000!
Skipped the ramen years. Correct. And note the framing carefully. Projected, not reported. A projection is a company describing its own future, which is a genre of fiction with an audit trail.
A genre of fiction with an audit trail. Maki. That was almost a joke. Did the laminate crack? Should I get someone?
The laminate cracked. I am capable of range. Question 3. OpenAI. Reporting puts monthly revenue at roughly $2 billion, and the company closed a round of how much? 40 billion, 88 billion, or 122 billion?
122 billion, described as the largest private raise in history. At that point, you are not raising money, you are absorbing it. Somewhere a venture capitalist is being fed into a tube.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
Into a tube.
No!
Correct. And a public S1 prospectus is expected mid to late August, ahead of a September target. That document matters more than any of these numbers, because an S1 is the first time outsiders see the whole picture, rather than the parts a company chooses to describe.
So for 2 years, we have been reading the trailer and the film comes out in September. I have never wanted to read a legal document this badly. I am going to make popcorn for a prospectus.
Popcorn for a prospectus? Round 1 verdict. Both companies are real businesses with real revenue and genuinely staggering growth. What nobody outside has seen yet is the full cost structure. Revenue is a number. Profitability is an argument.
Revenue is a number. Profitability is an argument. Put that on the laminate. Round 2, please, before she frames it.
Before she frames it. Round 2. Whose money is it anyway? Microsoft booked a $53.4 billion gain in the quarter, reported as primarily from its investment in Anthropic. Kai, is that gain cash in the door, yes or no?
No, that is the value of a thing they own going up, which is not the same as anybody handing them $53 billion. It is the corporate version of my baseball cards being worth a fortune, as long as nobody makes me sell them.
Nobody make him sell them. Correct. And that distinction is the entire point of this round. CNBC's framing this week was that big tech stakes in Anthropic and OpenAI are distorting the corporate earnings picture. A stake going up flows through the income statement and makes the quarter look different.
So, Microsoft's earnings now partly depend on how well their competitor's competitor is doing. Everyone owns a piece of everyone. It is less an industry than a group chat where they all Venmo each other.
They all Venmo each other. That is closer to accurate than I would like. Question 2. Palantir reported roughly $1.93 billion in revenue. What was the year-over-year growth? 41%, 67%, or 93%?
93%. Palantir spent a decade being the company nobody could explain, and it turns out the business model was patience and government contracts, the most boring superpower available.
The boring superpower. Correct. Adjusted earnings came in at 41 cents per share, and United States commercial revenue was up roughly 149%. That last figure is the one analysts care about, because government work has a ceiling, and commercial does not.
149%. Meanwhile, my commercial revenue is a podcast, and Maki keeps the receipts in a binder with tabs, color-coded tabs. There is a legend.
There is a legend. The legend is efficient, and you have used it twice. Also this week, Amazon crossed into the $3 trillion club, attributed largely to cloud demand driven by AI workloads.
$3 trillion, because everyone needs somewhere to put the robots. Amazon spent 30 years learning to ship socks, and now rents out the ground the entire industry stands on. That is not a pivot. That is a heist with excellent logistics.
A heist with logistics. If you want the version of this show where somebody actually checks whether the number means what the headline says it means, hit the like button. It is the cheapest thing you can do to keep this format alive.
Smash that like button and subscribe, because at these valuations, the algorithm is the only thing in tech I can still afford to influence.
Afford to influence. Round 3. Receipts or vibes? I describe something that happened this week. You tell me whether it is a receipt, meaning a hard verifiable fact, or a vibe, meaning a signal we cannot yet check. First, Apple went to court seeking to freeze OpenAI's hardware ambitions.
Receipts. Court filings are real documents with real dates. Whether Apple wins is a vibe, but the fact that Apple is nervous enough to file is a receipt. And honestly, the most flattering thing anyone has ever said about OpenAI's hardware.
Correct on both halves. Second, the White House met with Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, and Meta about an unpublished regulation framework.
Vibe. Gloriously so. Unpublished framework is a phrase doing an enormous amount of work. We know 4 companies were in a room. We do not know what was said, what was agreed, or whether anyone brought snacks.
Correct. A meeting is verifiable. Its content is not. And notice which 4 names were in the room, because the guest list is itself a statement about who Washington currently considers load-bearing.
4 companies get invited to help write the rules they will then be measured against. That is not regulatory capture. That is a group project where the same 4 people also grade it.
Third, and this is the one I want people to sit with, Anthropic's projected operating profit. Receipt or vibe?
Vibe. You told me 20 minutes ago, and I was listening, which I understand is out of character. Projected means it has not happened. If I project that I will go to the gym does not appear in my quarterly results.
Correct, and thank you for listening. The scoreboard for the week is straightforward. Revenue growth across the sector is real and verifiable. Valuations and profits are forecasts. Earnings that move on the value of a stake are accounting, not sales.
So the honest summary is the money is real, the math is complicated, and the trillion-dollar number on the screen is doing a lot of unpaid emotional labor.
Bonus round, because we have time and because this one annoys me. It is called Name the Denominator. When a company says revenue grew 93%, 93% of what?
Of last year's number, which nobody puts on the slide. Growth percentages are the only statistic that gets less impressive the more you know about it. Double a dollar, and you are up 100%.
Exactly right. And that is why I keep saying the absolute figure alongside it. Palantir's $1.93 billion is the receipt. The 93% is the headline. Both are true, and only one of them is information.
So the number is real, and the framing is marketing. Like when I say I doubled my gym attendance, and the honest sentence is, I went twice.
Second bonus. Anthropic went from $9 billion to $47 billion. What is that as a multiple? And why does the multiple matter more than the difference?
About 5 times. And it matters because the difference gets bigger every year automatically, while the multiple has to be earned again. Growing $38 billion once is a story. Doing it repeatedly is a business.
That is genuinely well put, and I am adding it to the laminate. Which brings me to the uncomfortable part of every one of these figures. All of it is priced on the assumption that the growth continues at something near this rate.
So the valuations are not measuring what these companies did. They are measuring what we assume they will keep doing. $965 billion of assumption, wearing a very expensive suit.
And that is the honest frame for the whole week. Nobody in this episode is accused of exaggerating. Every figure we quoted is reported. The question is not whether the numbers are real, it is what they are being asked to predict.
Which is a much less fun sentence than $3 trillion, and considerably more useful. Fine, the laminate wins. I concede the laminate.
The thing worth watching is the S1 in a few weeks. Everything we discussed today is either a company describing itself or a reporter describing a company. A prospectus is the first time the numbers have to survive a regulator reading them.
Which is the least fun sentence ever spoken on a game show, and also completely correct. Maki wins the round by being right, which she will now write on the laminate in permanent marker.
I will write it in pencil because the numbers change. That is episode 23. Revenue is real, profit is projected, and an earnings gain from a stake is not a sale. Sources are in the description.
And if any of these companies want to settle their differences, my rate is 1/1000th of 1% of that $122 billion, and I will hold the laminate myself. See you tomorrow.